Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and we'll be looking at how to build a basic dashboard by using Power BI. So, the first thing you want to do is to go to the Power BI page at app.powerbi.com/home. Here, you'll be at the home page for Power BI, which will have recommendations for you to go to, such as your recent workspaces, what you've frequently opened, how to get started, and much more. So, on the left side pane, we have a bunch of tabs such as Create, Browse, Data Hub, Metrics, and so on. Before we create our own report and dashboard, let's quickly go through a sample report that Power BI has provided for us. So we'll click on Learning. Under Samples, we'll click on Revenue Opportunities. So now you're seeing a Power BI report with nice visuals and a breakdown of the Revenue Opportunities report. We have the opportunity revenue and opportunity count on the top left. There's the opportunity count by region and pipeline by stage on the bottom left. The revenue and opportunity count by month is located on the top right, and the revenue by region and state is on the bottom right. They are presented with different kinds of visuals like bar graphs, line graphs, map visuals, gradients, and so on. We're also able to interact with the visuals, so if you want to filter out certain regions, metrics, or any component of the graph, you can do that. For example, if I only want to know the opportunity count by region in the east, I can click on the east bar and it'll only show and calculate the values and highlighted areas for the results. On the left side page, if I click on detail, it will show us the underlying table that has the columns of data used to create the report. So let's go back to the report. And we'll click on the edit button in the middle. This is where you can edit your entire report. You have many kinds of visualizations available and filters. You can select the data you want in a specific visual and stylize it to your liking. On the right, we have the Visualizations pane. This is where you can build your visual with all kinds of charts like bar chart, column chart, line chart, scatter chart, pie chart, map chart, and many more. So let's take a look at the bottom left chart here. It's currently a stacked bar chart, but we can click on stacked column chart and it'll change to it right away. You can try out other visuals and experiment to see if it fits with the data selected. But let's leave it at the stacked column chart for now. And if we click on the Format Visual button in the middle, we can format the visual of the graph to whatever we want. There are many settings we can change. For example, we can click on Columns, then click on the Colors tab. We can remove the conditional formatting of the gradient and add in a solid color, or we can change the conditional formatting of the color to what we want. We can also change the spacing of the columns to match the size that fits the graph, or however thin or thick you want. You have plenty of other options such as grid lines, data labels, and so on. There are also general properties where you can edit the properties like the height and size of the chart as well as the position. And we can choose to leave the title on or not. There are additional effects you can add or change in the background, visual border, shadow, and much more. On the right side, we have the data pane. This shows all the data available that you can use to create the visuals. So if we were to click on the pipeline by stage graph, we can see that it shows the data that has been used in the visual with the checkboxes. In this case, we've used opportunity count and sales stage. We can select different columns of data and choose the kind of visual that fits it best. For example, I can choose something like product code and revenue, and it'll change the graph using the data that I've selected. We will also need to change the title of the graph, so we'll go to Format Your Visual, then click on General and click on Title. Change the text of the title to something fitting like Product Code by Revenue. So you basically choose what you want to display on your report using the data that you have presented and stylize the visuals to your liking. On the middle top here, we have something called Ask a Question. This is a pretty neat feature where you can ask a question about your data. It will provide you with suggested questions for you to start out, and you can show all suggestions for more results. So we can test this out by clicking on something like Top States by Factored Revenue, and it'll provide us with the top states by factored revenue using the data we provided. You can select other questions to try out, or you can ask your own questions related to the data. The next thing we'll be doing is creating a dashboard. Okay, so let's click on the Save button on the top right. Next, we'll click on Pin to a dashboard. Select New Dashboard, and we'll need to give the dashboard a name, so we can use the same name as before, Revenue Opportunities. Then click on Pin Live. After that, we can click on Go to Dashboard. So this is the dashboard of revenue opportunities. Similarly to the report, we can interact with the dashboard visuals and select the key points of data that we want to see. There is also a drop-down menu for the product code to filter out the product codes and more. The dashboard has a built-in question and answer at the top, so you can ask questions about your data similarly to a report. It will provide you with a visual of data that corresponds with the question asked. Going back to the dashboard, we can edit the dashboard by adding a tile or changing the dashboard theme. For example, I can change the dashboard theme from light to dark, making it easier on the eyes. For adding a tile, we can add many sources of media such as web content, images, text boxes, videos, as well as real-time data. We won't need to know this for the exam, but you can play around with the Power BI features as you like.